Welcome to WTUZ Radio Podcast. I am your host, Rhonda. Today's topic is really kind of impromptu. I was sitting back trying to think what I wanted to name this particular podcast because there's so much going on. I mean, I could literally make a quick 15-minute get up every day. That's how much is going on. So, but this particular podcast, I decided to name it Welcome to the Twilight Zone. So, what I want to discuss in this podcast is overall all of the events going on around the world. And that is from a news perspective, what the everyday person sees but not see, and as well as how this is all tied to what is really going on. So with that said, let's get started. We can start with this whole pandemic situation. First, it came out. Let's first of all start out with it, quote, quote, came out of nowhere. We woke up one morning, we heard the term, and then from that point on, it was downhill. And it almost seems like as they were giving us the particular information about this pandemic that they weren't even sure really what direction they wanted to go with it. Okay. So is it airborne? Is it not airborne? How does it really spread, et cetera, et cetera? So even that did not raise red alarm or, get majority of the people, I'll put it this way, majority of the people's antenna up. Now, whether or not it was man-made or not, that's a separate story. Although I think most of us know what that answer is. Most of us that's in the know, that use our real eyes, we know the answer to that. So just within the blink of an eye, just like the World Trade Center, remember that? Remember that event? The World Trade Center? Just like that, in literally a blink of an eye, folks were turning over their freedom. Now, the first time with the World Trade Center, the freedom was on paper. The freedom was we allowed to be censored. So I want y'all to see how this lines up perfectly. So with the World Trade Center, and y'all know I can't use the numbers behind that because of that event. That event ushered in censorship. So meaning the permission was given by the majority that agencies have the authority and the right to censor you without your knowledge. Let's fast forward 20 years later. And now we're to the point of I am literally producing this podcast and I have to talk to you in code. Because if I don't, my stuff will be censored. Okay? So that was the first step. Not only was that event a huge ritual, it was also the first step in bringing in their new plans to capture the consciousness of the majority of the populace, to set them up for what they're calling the new age, which is really their slanted way of responding to the planet's shift into higher vibration. Okay? So like I have said over and over and over and over again, that every physical component that is done has a spiritual foundation. I'll say that again. Every physical component that is done has a spiritual foundation. So meaning it starts in the spiritual first. All right? So now we're 20 years in, and now the game has been risen. Now we are talking down to folks' individual health, your physical vessel. All right? Now we are talking, in my opinion, biological tampering. And once again, with the blink of an eye, with media, letting your eyes see something to get to your consciousness and reprogramming your subconsciousness or your subconscious to accept a narrative that they want you to accept. And this time, it was physical, or it is physical. And just like last time, most of the populace, 90% of them, believed it lock, stock, and barrel. To the point that they're even willing, or not even willing, they are lining up to get the remedy. No research on what's in that remedy, just lining up to get the remedy, putting stickers on themselves or badges on themselves, saying that they got the remedy, trying to shame others on getting the remedy, and trying to shame others, saying that they are a threat to others' individual health. This was done with the blink of an eye. Now, many have speculated, what does that remedy mean? Why are they really doing that remedy? I've heard a lot of theories. Of course, we'll know when it happens. But what I personally feel, and I will always say this, it is definitely related to the polar shift that we have going on. Now, some say that the particular remedy is because of the polar shift, and they want the public to be prepared, their body to be physically prepared for the polar shift. Others say that it's a mass extermination program. Which is it? Or is it neither one? I'm going to go with the first one, but I'm going to say it's not so much preparing folks to be able to handle the shift as it is preparing folks to be able to handle a shift that they want folks to prepare to handle. Because the bottom line is, if you are supposed to be somewhere, then your spirit, soul, and physical body will adjust accordingly to those said elements. So, in other words, as planet Earth, Mother Earth, is upgrading in a higher frequency, if you are supposed to be rising in a higher frequency with her, then that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you will do. And you will rise naturally as she is rising naturally. You won't need any assistance, and especially any physical assistance. Your body will naturally start adjusting to the shift, just like she is adjusting to her own shift. So it appears to me, now of course this is just my personal opinion, that what we have here is folks trying to literally create an artificial realm that can mirror what we have today at a minimum. Possibly what they are trying to do is mirror where the planet, where Mother Earth is going from a higher frequency. And I don't think they can do it. So at a minimum, they'll have to settle for adjusting to where they are today. Okay? This is also why we see literally every other day there is some type of crises going on in the media. Literally every other day. We are literally bombarded with some type of violence, some type of way over the top sexual. It ain't even innuendos at this point. They just flat out put it in your face, point blank. So all of this is going on, and still 90% of the populace still don't see it. They still don't see it. They're still lining up to get that remedy. They're still making excuses for the outrageousness that is going on. So not only are all of these events keep streaming together one after another in your face, bold, it's also a testing ground on what they can get away with the populace. And for the most part, for the populace, they're getting away with it. So don't feel, family, that you're losing your rocker as you sit back and you see these events keep unfolding. And most of us have been saying that these things were going to happen for years. You know, yeah, a lot of it we have read with the different publications, with the movies. But a lot of it too, we just felt it in our spirit and soul, or we saw it in premonitions, in dreams, in astral travel. So don't feel that you are going crazy. Don't pressure yourself to giving in to make others feel comfortable, because they still have the wool over their eyes. The veil has not been unlifted on them. So I'm bringing you this welcome to the Twilight Zone because that's exactly where we are. Literally, we see the illusions. Everything we look at, when you look at it with your real eyes, you see how much of an illusion it is. And I know it's mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. And it's to the point now that even when something is so plain as day, it's right in others' face, they don't see it. And it's really, you really feel like you're in the freaking the Twilight Zone. I enter and overstand. But just keep this in your mind, your heart, and your soul, that it has to be this way. And the reason it has to be this way is because those particular folks are not ready. They have to hold on to the illusion because their frequency cannot survive the higher level. So I know I've talked about this several times, those of you that rock with me, and I have to keep bringing it up. And I'm keep bringing it up because we are at that point where you're going to start to see more separation between those who get it from a higher frequency level and those that aren't ready. So just know it is okay for them not to be ready. Okay? So it's something that we cannot force. Just like they can't force you to accept the bull crap when you see it for what it is, just like they cannot make you go back and pull a veil back down over your eyes, we can't rip the veil from off of their eyes, because that light, that frequency hitting their codes, most of them, it will kill them. That's also why you see a lot of chaos as well, because folks are not adjusting to these new frequencies. All right? So yes, maybe that remedy is for the masses that are not going to be able to adjust to the frequency, that they'll have to stay on the current frequency, because without it, it would be mass extermination. But either way, you keep doing what you need to do for self. Okay? Because at the end of the day, everyone's individual soul journey, they'll get what they need to get out of the experience. So the plus side, the good side to this is you're literally consciously and subconsciously aware of what is going on, and you are witnessing the collapse of an empire. You are witnessing the rebirth of a realm to a higher frequency. Do you understand how powerful that is? Do you understand how many resets has happened to slow this particular event down, to slow the rebirth to a higher frequency, a higher realm? Do you realize how many resets happen to prevent that? And now you are consciously and subconsciously aware of the shift. You are witnessing it. And because you are tuned in, just a little bit that's tuned in. I say as high as 10%. I definitely don't think it's 10%, but at least 10% of the populace are aware that something is going on. They're not buying the narrative. They can go on with that bull crap. At least 10%. But there is at least 1% who see the entire chessboard. And that's all that was needed to stop a reset. You are consciously aware of what's going on. This is huge. We don't even know how many thousands of years, if not millions of years, this has happened. That's how special this is. So give yourself the credit. Keep doing what you're doing. Just know that when it's time for them to get it and catch up, they will get it and catch up. So I'm not going to make this long. I did just want to come to you all on this because I know it's so much going on, but there is a reason for it. So no matter what we see going on in the physical, just a reminder, remember, there's always a spiritual foundation to it. So just take a little bit moment when they're throwing the physical at you, do a little reflection and think, what's the spiritual foundation behind that? You're going to be fine. We'll all be fine. We'll all be able to look back on this. I see a lot of folks are going to leave a lot of evidence behind on what happened. So this is a special time. So I wish everyone well on this Monday. So you take care of yourself, family. I wish everyone the best. I wish everyone well. Peace and love.